What is up, Ham Radio? Kilo Echo 8 Papa Zoo November, the Ham Radio Adventure Guy. Thanks for stopping by, your one stop for everything Adventure Radio. It is Hump Day, time for the Hump Day Happy Hour, and we are going to have a great stream tonight. We're going to be talking about camping, but a little bit on the stream side and doing POTA. But before we get started, we're going to talk about how awesome these guys are. They are my Patreons, and they are absolutely awesome. And more than likely, after this stream, we're going to head over in the after chat because it's one of their benefits, and we're going to hang out there and just carry on and talk ham radio and a bunch of nonsense. But awesome, awesome people. Also, awesome people, the YouTube members. If we just had somebody that wasn't scared to be on the bottom underneath Brian of the Rovers, man. Everybody's scared to rove. And the ever-changing board. No changes, but off-stream donation from Kilo 8, Golf, Quebec. That's Golf, Quebec.
Galloping quarter horses.
Thank you very much for the off-stream donation, Terry. Dan, what is going on?
That was a good one that Sherry said. What is going on, everybody? Happy Hump Day, episode 185. Welcome. Liz, Whiskey 8 Echo Romeo. And fam was first in the chat. Alpha Echo 4 X-Ray Oscar. What's going on, buddy? Whiskey 1 Whiskey Charlie. Kilo Oscar 4 Golf Bravo. Mo, what's happening? KO4 FSZ Antennas. What's going on? He's at his weekly meeting with the inmates that he does every week. Awesome thing that he has going on there, and he won't be able to make the stream, but he did drop in and say hello beforehand. Alpha Delta 2 Charlie Delta. Toby, our net control station. What's going on, buddy? NC Old Man Overload. I've seen that somewhere. I don't know who that is, but I think we might see something. I just dropped a YouTube channel in the chat. Go check him out. Give him a sub. John KANIV. Good to see you, buddy. Whiskey 1 Whiskey Charlie. I already said you popped up here again. Kent Kilo 9 Alpha Echo. Brent November 4 Bravo Delta Whiskey. What's going on? Sherry Kilo Echo 8 Yankee Victor Donut. She's in the house. Mike 88KB. Scrolling on down. Gene McPhee. What's going on, buddy? That's November 3 X-Ray Uniform Sierra. And Whisper 0 Charlie Golf Charlie. Good to see you, buddy. And Kilo 8 Galloping Quarter Horses. Good to see you, buddy. Dad Kilo Delta 9 Uniform Victor Kilo. Scott N2 TKT. Martini. That's the extra Jumbo Marshmallow. She is in the house. November 3 Whiskey Echo Romeo. The Ham Radio Elmer. What's going on, buddy? Keep on scrolling. We got a house full today, man. This is awesome. Brian Victor Echo 3 X-Ray November Sierra Stroke Tango Bravo. Howdy. Kilo Echo 4 Eastern Standard Time. And I imagine also Kilo 4 Alpha is also here. Larry Bingham from Ohio. Uniform Kilo X-Ray. What's going on, buddy? Slow and Ugly CW. My man. What is up? That's how I rule. I worked you on 80 meters Monday. I did. Whiskey 4 Lima X-Ray and Alpha Charlie 3 Alpha Victor. Chris Harris, Whiskey 8 Oscar X-Ray. What up? Jimmy KI5 PRK. Good evening. Keeler 4 Lemur Indier is in the house. Pete Knapp. Bustin' through that 1 whiskey pile up from West by God, Virginia. Good to see you, buddy. And Whiskey 8 Juliet Echo Sierra Radio. Hello. And Julie, good to see you. Happy Hump Day Wednesday to everyone. Hopefully the middle of your week is doing good. We're on the downslope to the weekend. So episode 185. Let's go.
That's right, 185. And I'll tell you, I'm glad it is Hump Day because I'll tell you what, I needed to get over the hump because I spent all daggone day in the car dealership. You know, I got done fixing the Eagle one this morning because of the winds last night. And when I was out activating, and it sort of bent some of the brackets up a little bit. I come out, and instead of vertical like this, it was like all crooked and stuff. And I was like, that's interesting.
We got some bad winds come through last night and through this morning, and it's been kind of gusty, windy all day, and I had to fear that I was going to wake up and go outside, and my hex beam's going to be all bent up, but survived it like a champ.
I just packed it up and put it in the trunk of the car and Came on to the house and I fixed it this morning. I'm like, cool, now I can go activate. No.
There you go.
They come and say, your windshield's going to be here at 12:30. It'll take about an hour. Oh, cool. Okay, I'll just go down and get the windshield in about an hour, and then I'll go do some parks around Charleston.
Yeah.
Okay, it took about an hour for them to get it in there. But they didn't mention to say that, hour and a half, 2 hours, it had to sit there and finish drying or whatever they do with the thing.
Curing or whatever. Yeah.
Curing, yeah. And then they give me all these other rules like got to leave the back windows cracked so pressure don't build up.
Now this is West Virginia. Did they give you a rule not to roll down your window?
No, I had to roll down
the front windshield because you never know.
But this is the funny rule about it being West Virginia. They said don't hit any bumps hard. And I looked at them and said, do you know where we're at?
Right?
So I get all that done, and then I have to go get the sticker put on it, of course, because, they don't do stickers there. And I got to go cross the street, which means go down the road and do a U-turn because you can't cross all the traffic there. Get the sticker put on, and I start heading to Forks of Coal, and I can see it getting darker and darker. Now, the whole time I'm in there, it's talking about this storm coming, 50 miles an hour winds, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, got to get the activation in, got to get an activation in. So I get there and I get set up, and I even put short time because it was already raining on me. And I get about 30 contacts in, and I'm watching the trees just bending over. And I'm like, I'm going to get out of here before a branch comes through this brand new windshield, and I get in all kinds of trouble.
Yeah,
I said so.
You've already been in the park and got the daylight scared out of you by a branch falling down.
Yeah. So at 40 contacts, I said, all right, 10 more, guys, 10 more. And I did the countdown, every one. And when 50 hit, I was out of there. People still calling. But I hit the road and got back here and been working on a video for tomorrow. But I tell you what, it was a hectic day. Enough about that.
Yeah, man.
We got something to talk about tonight. And before we do,
who is that guy?
I really don't know. He just showed up. He just showed up in the back room, and he's just been sitting there. So I'm going to talk to him. Max, welcome to the show. First off, introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about you and what got you into ham radio.
Hey, everybody. So my name is Max, N4TRD, as you could see. It's actually a Toyota Racing Development, so it's my camper. And because of COVID, like everybody else, I got into camping and kind of started overlanding and off-roading. And going way back, I was licensed in 1983. My father was a ham. He lived for about 10 more years, so I was pretty active in the first Gulf War. We did Mars when I was over in Kuwait and Saudi and Iraq. So my father was really big into Mars, and that was a great way, back before we had cell phones or sat phones, it was radio. And when he passed away, I kind of got out of it. So, fast forward to about 2 years ago, we were heavy in the overlanding, off-roading community, just like this community. Everybody I see here, I talk to pretty much every day. And, I think these two guys above me built a pretty awesome community. And just like in this community, there's communities in overlanding, and the communities in overlanding, they all are into radios. Most of it GMRS. You find a lot of guys that are doing ham radio. Some do both, but for the most part, it's GMRS. But it's an off-grid environment, which kind of dovetails into ham radio. So, like about 2 years ago, I was, there's events like everything else, and there's a rooftop tent rally up in Virginia, and they had a VE testing, and there were these guys doing parks on the air, and I walked by and I was like, well, what are you doing? And they were like, parks on the air. I was like, oh, what's that about? And that started my journey back into POTA. And, recently I've kind of dabbled in the WWFF because, the ham 2K software is so simple to activate both with the logs. But, camping goes hand in hand with POTA, especially, depending on the level of camping. I mean, I have a camper and we do off-roading. So it's more, we try to go off-grid primitive, which, out west is awesome. here on the East Coast, you can't really do as much boondocking or as much primitive camping as you would like or I would like. So on the East Coast, it's pretty much RVs, van camping, car camping, camping on the truck or camper on the truck, but it all revolves around parks. You're always in a park. And I know, James is up in West Virginia. I'm in North Carolina. There's guys all over the East Coast. Every state has their own adventure route. Like, so up in West Virginia, there's the Allegheny Adventure Route. And that is pretty much dirt roads all over West Virginia. So if you want to activate and camp and overland while getting to see the state, that's a great way to do it. Florida has the FAT, the Florida Adventure Trail. South Carolina has the SCAR, the South Carolina Adventure Route. Every state across the United States has their own routes. So when you download these maps, I use Onyx, Onyx Off-Road, and it's free. So you could download it. And it's great because if you're in a park, you could click on it and it'll tell you where you are and where the park boundaries are. And then you just, next step is you find a campground. Unless you want to stay at a state campground. We've been into state campgrounds because it has power, and I've been really spoiled lately. I've just been setting up camp for 3 or 4 days and POTA the whole time. That was a lot, wasn't it? I just kept rambling, didn't I?
Oh, no. So, well, I mean, I expected you just to start doing because first off, I've done figured out you're crazy because this is why.
Yeah.
You do overlanding, which is way, way, way too expensive for me to ever do. And then you decide you're going to do ham radio while overlanding. And I'm like, is this Elon Musk we're talking to here? Well, you pick some expensive hobbies, buddy. I like your taste.
Yeah, well, I'm telling you, that truck right there is 5 years in the making, and it's all paid for, but it's little by little by little over 5 or 6 years. And overlanding, I've heard you 2 or 3 times talk about an adventure trailer, and you brought up the Moore Expo. That is the Ozarks and Moore Expo is a phenomenal place to go. And there's all kinds of POTA and ham radio there. So, overlanding is what you make of it. You don't have to be in a built rig. 90% of overlanding, if not 95%, is dirt roads going through, they're Forest Service roads going through a state. The whole FAT, the Florida Adventure Trail, the whole South Carolina SCAR. West Virginia is a little bit different. Even your paved roads are off-roading. But, in West Virginia, the Allegheny Adventure Route is dirt roads, but you could do bypasses on the Hatfield-McCoy. But you're always in a state park. The trick then becomes, where's the twofers and threefers? But there's nothing like going to a state park and setting up, your gear and then going for a kilo. I mean, it's easy for me. It's natural. It's a natural fit.
I am happy to see the taco though, because I'll go ahead and admit it. I am a Toyota fanboy. I have a Tundra. I have a 2012 Tundra. And like you said, I mean, sitting behind him in that picture is a lot of money, but nobody here has disposable money. They can just throw at that all at one time. I don't think. There may be somebody in the chat that's a hidden multimillionaire or something like that. But the same thing with my 2012 Tundra. If I bring it somewhere right now, people are like, man, that thing's decked out. You got everything you need in that thing. I'm like, yeah, but this is 7, 8, 9 years of just accumulating stuff. It's the same thing about my ham shack. I didn't get all this at one time. It's years and years and years of building and building and building until you get to the product that you like, and it is awesome. Well,
that's what it's all about. I mean, it's building and building. I mean, I started POTA with my dad's 35-year-old Icon. It's a 736, and I went to eBay and bought the cheapest end fed. Back 10 years ago, I mean, if anybody was around, or 15 years ago, it was the G5 RVs. Everybody had dipoles, and now everybody's jumping on the end fed. So I was like, okay, end fed, whatever. I just throw it up in a tree. Okay. And I still have Tandy, my dad's Tandy coax. Like literally, it was $30 like 35 years ago. I remember when he bought it at Radio Shack. So, you evolve over the years, and it doesn't have to be expensive. You could go overlanding in a Honda Odyssey just fold the seats back, throw a mattress, a blow up mattress in the back, sleep in it, and get a cheap old $20 Coleman camp stove. We look at pictures going back like 5 years of our camp setups, and we're just like, oh.
And that
Walmart
setup that you
tents.
just described, that setup you just described almost sounds like James at Dayton.
Absolutely. I always overland at Dayton.
There you go.
I'm always overlanding at Dayton.
But yeah, you don't have to. I mean, everybody says how all the money in that rig, but it was 5 years.
Yep.
And I seriously didn't mean to do it. And if I could do it again, I'd do a lot of things different.
I have a lot of friends that do POTA and do RVing anyway. And it is funny because a lot of them do their version of overlanding, and it's called they park at Cracker Barrel.
Oh,
and I didn't really realize how big of a thing that is until I knew a lot of people do it, but on the way back from Florida, we'd been driving for a while and we were hungry, and there was a Cracker Barrel, and we pulled in, and there was 9 RVs in the back of Cracker Barrel. And then I looked over there, and there were 5 camper vans, and I was like, "Are you kidding me? This is like a legit camping spot."
It's the same way here at night at like Walmart. Yeah, I mean the whole back of the parking lot at Walmart, because they stay away from where normal people would park if you want to go shopping at 2:00 in the morning. But yeah, I mean there's tons and tons and tons of campers. Yeah.
Your Walmart still open at 2 in the morning?
Yeah, we got 24-hour Walmart.
Yeah, we got 24 hours. There's apps dedicated to Walmart and Cracker Barrel. We call that boondocking. And we've done.
Yeah, boondocking. There you go.
Yeah, my wife and I have done that. Yeah, you make your way across America just staying at Cracker Barrels. I mean, it's great because you get up in the morning, you go in and get breakfast and get on the road.
It's kind of like a free continental breakfast, but it's not free.
Well, you don't have to pay for a campsite.
Yeah,
or a hotel room, a motel room. So yeah, there's full communities doing that. And if you leave at the right time, you start heading up to the West Coast, because we've been, we'll spend all of July and August out in Montana, Colorado, Utah, and as you head out there and you stop at the Cracker Barrels, you kind of get into these groups because it's kind of the same people on the way. So
yeah, like I'm trying my best to get a Toyota this year. It's my bucket list thing to get us a Toyota this year. I've had Toyotas before, but I need a new one this year. And I've been looking for things for it. I originally was going to get a camper van, and they're just so outrageous. So I decided I was going to get a Toyota and maybe a teardrop. But until I can get a teardrop, I seen this thing the other day, and I don't know how legit they are, but they're not very expensive, and they weigh about 200 pounds, and you just pick them up and put them in the back of your truck, and it's like a little truck camper that goes right on the back, and it looked all right. So I might get one of those until I can get me a teardrop or something, because that's what I want to do. I just want to head out. When I want to go on a rove, I'm going to rove 5 states. I don't want to rove 5 parks. I want to rove 5 states. So,
see, and that's what it's all about. That's adventure to me. I mean, this winter's kind of been sucking because I go to the same parks every single day. I want to get back into the camp season, get on the road. 5-state road where you could actually stay overnight. You do late shift, you go to bed, you get up the next morning, you have some coffee, do early shift, hit the road to the next park. I did it this weekend on the SCAR, the South Carolina Adventure Route. We drove all the way to South Carolina. We stayed Friday and Saturday night. Then Sunday we hit dirt roads, and I made my way and activated all the way back up to North Carolina. It was phenomenal. It was great. And it literally took me to places where I wouldn't have normally have gone. So then there's, where I'm in South Carolina, there's a ton of history. It was every battlefield is a POTA entity.
Yeah, Mo brings up a good point, and I'm going to put it up here just because, like I said, I am a Toyota fanboy. And $220K, a Toyota is just getting broke in. I mean, you're just getting the metal out of the engine now. I mean, it's good for It's good for 4 times that.
It's funny because I was going to put that up too, and I was going to tell you a funny story. So my dad, at one point, bought a Toyota, and it had 300,000 miles on it when he bought it.
Like new.
He drove it another 300,000 miles
Yes,
and
sir.
sold it.
As long
Still
as you
running.
keep up, as long as you keep up with the maintenance. I mean, I run full synthetic. That's what mine calls for, and I change my oil every 8 to 10,000 miles. And as long as you keep up with the maintenance on it, and
So once
what
every
the
3
book
days.
says, it's perfect.
So you change your oil once every 3 days, then, right?
Well, yeah, that's right.
You said 8 to 10,000 miles, right?
It's not a rental.
Yeah, I change mine every 5 because we go with so much dirt and mud.
Yeah,
And I stay up to date with my fluids big time. And I didn't realize on that picture there's my hamstick leaning against the bumper.
yeah, I do see that.
That's a hamstick right there.
So what's your go-to radio setup when you're overlanding?
I typically carry with me an 891, which is my mobile, but I've gone round and round with Dan. He's given me some pointers, but I can't seem to break the Toyota curse that there's a ton of fuel pump RFI coming into the 891. On 10 meters and 15 meters, it's actually pretty good, but on 20 and 40, it's awful. So I could set up a dash, my 891, remote, take off the head, but I just got the 710. And I did the Black Friday deal. It was like $300 or $400 off if you get the credit card. And I love the 710, so I take the 710. And typically, if you look at my truck, I have an awning, and I throw the awning out, or I have a Gazelle, the pop up, kind of typical, like similar to your pop up, And I throw the awning up and sit in there and CQ POTA. Last weekend, though, I kind of cheated. I sat at the picnic table across from my wife, and we put up a fire, and I did FT8 while I had some bourbon and campfire. It was phenomenal. I've never done that. FT8 is like watching paint dry, but
so it would have been all right if you'd have said I was doing PSK 31 while you was doing that.
I did do PSK 31. I made 2 contacts.
Hey, good.
I did.
You know what? Matter of fact, I seen you spotted. I seen you spotted. I do remember seeing you spotted on PSK 31. I was nowhere near the radio, or I'd have worked you.
Well, a lot of people text me afterwards and hit me up in Discord, and were like, "Well, why didn't you wait? I saw you spotted. I was getting there." But I still haven't. I know Brian. He helped me. He actually live streamed his setup and my setup. We went back and forth. But there's so many buttons, and there's really. It's just not very intuitive software when it boils down to it. I get it's free, but yeah, I activated, and I also tried to activate what is it? What's the other one, James?
Hellscriber?
No, it's the Ghost Net. Yeah, he has a Ghost Net. It's the talk. F9 call. JS9 call. J8 call. Yeah, there's a Ghost Net because here in North Carolina, when we went out west, there was like 15 rigs that went out west. We used JS8 call to communicate back for supplies. So we called it Ghost Net. And if you Google Ghost Net, there's a ton of information about Ghost Net. But I tried to activate JS8 call, and there was nobody. It's like crickets.
I wonder if they use the same fuel pumps in that than they do in the Tundra, because mine, I don't get a lot of fuel pump noise. I get other kind of just intermittent impulse type noise, but the noise blanker on the 891 is designed to take care of the impulse noise. That's what noise blankers are good for, not the noise reduction, the noise blanker.
I know it's a Tacoma 4Runner fuel pump issue. I know that for a fact. There's there's a lot of people listening that don't really care or want to know, but there's a class action lawsuit in Japan right now against Toyota because there's so many ham radio operators in Japan with Toyotas, and there's so much noise. But here in the States, no one cares. They exceed the ISO standard. but who's going to sue them?
You can install your 891 body in the fuel tank and probably get rid of it.
Well,
Don't do that in the chat. That was a joke. We don't want to be held responsible for you blowing up your truck.
Thanks for the super chat. And it can't be called the Nut Hut because you guys called my winter tent the Nut Hut. And by the way, when I got back from Florida, I was really glad to have the Nut Hut because I was used to activating outside and it was cold up here. It's 30-some degrees, and I pulled out the old Nut Hut the other day, and it was just, I can't remember. I sat in the park for 3 or 4 hours in the Nut Hut that day. So
yeah,
you said truck tent fun, and that's another thing I wouldn't mind doing. Even is if I got a Toyota, going ahead and getting one of those Haven tents and get the hitch receiver thing that comes out, and you can just hang your Haven there if there ain't trees. I'd rather hang it in trees, but if I get somewhere there's not trees, I could just pull that out of the back of the truck. And if anybody in the chat's ever slept in a Haven tent, let me know. I'm really interested in those things.
They also have I have a Diamondback cover on my Tundra, and they make little pop-up tents just for that Diamondback cover. They're ungodly expensive for some reason.
I know they're outrageous.
They look nice
because Tristan's got one on his truck.
Yeah,
and it's really, really nice. But
I don't think I would ever get one just because of the price, but they look nice.
Like, I honestly could buy that thing that I was telling you that was like 200 pounds.
Yeah,
put back there. I could almost buy that for the price of that tent. So,
anything has to do with overlanding is outrageous.
Yeah,
COVID took care of that. It was the COVID tax.
Yeah, the Diamondback
everything
covers
exploded.
Nice. Yeah, the Diamondback.
Diamondback is sweet. It
they're all
exploded
aluminum
in price too.
Yeah, so they're all aluminum, which gives a great ground plane for my antenna. One, it protects anything that I got in the bed of the truck, unlike a soft cover where you can just take a knife and get through it and grab my stuff. It's lockable, and I mean you can park an ATV on top of it. You know, yeah.
Waterproof.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah, that's nice. Yeah. Well, the good thing is that the overland community, and just like the camping community, is fickle. I mean, I'm the same way. I've done like 2 or 3 setups on my truck, and there's always used stuff. Always.
Yeah. Now I say 100% waterproof for normal water. I mean, if you submerge the damn thing, there's probably going to be some water ingress in there somewhere. But regular,
I meant like a storm comes through when you're camping.
Oh, nothing at all. Yeah, that's perfect.
Yeah, Dan's got his set up nice. I've seen Dan's many times. But so, have you ever been in any of the trails that you get into some really crazy rocky things, and you're like, I don't know about this, and you just keep on going? Or
yeah, well, I carry an extra CV and tie rod ends, but yeah, we've been in where it's a pucker factor, and yeah, it sucks. But we try not to. But a lot of times, when you're committed, like if anybody knows anything about East Tennessee, there's Windrock. Windrock is the largest off-road park, privately owned off-road park. But it's not just the 76,000 acres of Windrock. It's surrounded by 400,000 acres of state game land. So there's about 500,000, and the trails are teeny. They're narrow. There's nowhere to turn around. So you're committed. You're going, and most everybody I know. I mean, I have a winch, full recovery gear, but when you break something, you're down. You better have the part. And
so has your wife made you put one of those stickers on your dash saying, "Remember, you got to drive this home"?
No, she just beats the living crap out of me.
And there you go.
Yeah.
I was actually admiring the picture on the back, and I'm kind of looking at it for any kind of scuff marks or dents or anything, and I don't see
all kinds of dents.
Yeah.
Don't look too close.
This right here, Terry had
trail cred. Dan.
Terry had one job while I was in Florida. One job. Everybody knows it was supposed to be warm when I got back. And look what he's posting right now.
I can't get into too much really rough stuff with mine. One, it's not 4x4. Two, I have a rear sway bar. So if I want to do any kind of undulating type on my rear wheels, I have to disconnect my sway bar.
Off camber. Yeah. Yep. I took mine out.
Yep.
So now it just drives like this down the road.
Yeah. Yeah. But for handling on roads, I mean, even like just normal dirt roads, that sway bar is a godsend. I mean, it really helps the handling on a flatter surface, you know.
Well, so I mean, that truck you're looking at, it was built for rock crawling and off-roading because that's what we were into in the beginning when it was cool. And then, you know, after about a year of breaking everything, we realized it's not very cool. And so we transitioned to overlanding, which was about the same time I got back into ham radio. And there is nothing better than camping and ham radio. It's especially if you're, you know, living the off-grid life. It's phenomenal, but you don't need a rig like that. A rig like yours, like I said, it's 90 to 95% forest service roads, and you can get to just about everything. Out west is a little bit different. You know, we went out west in July and August, and then we came back and we went all over Michigan, Wisconsin, Upper Peninsula of Michigan. Still, it was dirt roads, but we got into a lot of really far out parks, you know, that I was trying to do the parks that no one else activated. So we didn't get in over our head, but that's adventure. I mean, that's the fun of POTA and the fun of exploring, you know. But my daily drive, guys, I mean, don't bust my chops, is a Prius. I mean, I take my Prius on dirt roads. It gets 60 miles to the gallon. It's, you know, so I hit some of these parks here in North Carolina with my Prius. I just don't tell anybody.
Jumbo Marshmallow said, call Robbie, because I don't know if you've heard the story before, but he's had to pull me out of the mud at a park before with his Jeep. And that day I learned the next best thing owning a Jeep with a winch on it is having a good friend who owns a Jeep with a winch on it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Well, you know, every state also has their off-road recovery network on Facebook group. So I you know, I'm part of those groups too. And you know, a lot of times someone will be broken a CV axle on the top of a mountain somewhere. And if you're close enough, you know, I carry a lot of CVs. But yeah, I can imagine you get stuck. How far do you have to walk to get cell phone service?
None.
Oh, you got lucky.
Yeah, I had cell phone service right there.
You usually get stuck when there's no cell phone service.
Yeah.
And you got to walk like 3 miles to get cell phone service.
And what sucks is I wasn't even in the, all right, so I got stuck on the way to the park because it was kind of like we ended up using his Jeep to get up there because it was kind of a steep, rockish kind of climb. And I was not in the park boundary. If I'd have got stuck in the park boundary, I wouldn't have cared. I'd have called Robbie and said, hey, get here when you get here. I'm just going to sit here and activate. But no.
That sounds like me and Carrie. We break down when they're bringing me back from Maryland, and we break down in a park. And we both looked at Ray and said, well, get a tow truck here when you can. And we start activating.
Yeah.
We cared not.
That's right.
We let Ray do all that stuff.
4 hours later, longest activation ever, but we had fun.
Well, it was funny because we activated, and Pete, who's in the chat, he actually came out and hung out with us for a little bit that evening. And eventually Terry showed up to get me. And
yep, Pete just said Cooper's Rock.
Yep, Cooper's Rock. I remember.
Yeah, Brian, 60 miles to the gallon. You know, Brian, it says no joke. It's nice having 60 miles per gallon because my truck, I call it smiles per gallon, SMGs. I get 10 to 12 smiles per gallon. I just choose not to think about it.
That's what I get. If I'm towing something good, I'll get like 6 to 8. Yeah.
Well, you know, if I could do it again, I'd do a Tundra.
So I thought about getting a Taco before I got my Tundra. My problem was everyone I sat in, even, you know, the double cab and my knees still kind of hit the dash. That leg room is what I was looking for, which is why I went with the Tundra.
Yeah, it just has a whole bunch more power.
Yeah, that 5.7 V8 is nice. They don't make them anymore.
It's funny. So I don't know if anybody. Well, I'm going to tell the whole chat the story of why I yell out "turd." James, have you told anybody that?
No, I haven't told nobody.
All right, since we're talking about trucks. All right, so for everybody in the chat that knows or doesn't know or doesn't care or cares, I don't know. I yell out "turd," And so I was sitting at a Hamcation talking to Sherry, and she was like, "So you know, it sounds like when you say your call sign real fast, it sounds like N for turd." I was like, "Well, yeah." She's like, "Well," and she was like, kind of taken back. I was like, "Well, that's what it is." She's like, "What?" I was like, "Yeah, it's a turd," and she busted up laughing. And I said, "Well, it's a Toyota third generation, a third TRD, and literally the whole world knows them as third turds." And then, James, what I should have done is when I got my vanity, I should have been N3 turd, so I could be a third turd.
Well, I'm going to
tell. That's the story behind that. If anybody hears me yelling turd,
because that's how she always knew you before that point. Is like she'd be sitting at the house and she's like, "Oh, turd's on. I'm going to hunt."
Yeah, it's hilarious. Yeah, because it was almost like she acted like I was offended, or like she said something wrong, and she was just like, "You sound like a turd." So I was just like, "Yeah, I do."
So that's what happens when you get in the vicinity of me and Dan at a show. You end up with a name.
Yeah, that's true.
So think about it. You came away from down there as known as Turd now. She came away from there. She's now the Donut Queen.
I know the guys that are on the Facebook POTA group that bitch about when we call out different names, like guys will complain about QRP or whatever mobile. I love it. When there's a pileup as an activator and Sherry yells out, donut, I'm like, hell yeah, I know exactly who that is. And every time, in my little 100-watt station, James, every time I've yelled at turd, I've broken through the pileup. Whereas before, it was so painful.
Brian just hit the nail on the head here. Taco turds.
Yeah.
So first off, the Facebook page ain't nothing but a bunch of keyboard warrior people that just want to fuss about stuff anyway. For the second part, it doesn't matter what you yell in a pileup, as long as you're not being obscene or something. It doesn't matter, because you have to identify with your call sign to tell me who you are to start with. So if you yelled Pina Colada and I say, all right, the Pina Colada station, you're going to tell me your call sign. So you're still identifying. You're not breaking anything. Park to park, yes, it's not a call sign, but you're giving me your call sign, so I know who I'm working park to park.
Hey, you're preaching to the choir. I've almost eliminated Facebook group because of the hate. I mean, you're number one and I'm number two, and all of a sudden everybody's like, hate comes out of the woodwork. I'm like, look, I can't help it if you don't want to activate, or you can't activate, or whatever, but you sit and you berate me for what I'm doing. I can't help it. Like, it's just like that truck, everybody's like, oh man, it must be nice. You can afford that. Well, I've had it for 6 years. I've built it over 6 years.
It's years of work, just like mine. It's not something that you just wake up and all of a sudden you have a badass truck in your yard. You get it stock, and then you modify it bit by bit by bit by bit when you can.
Well, I mean, it's a long endeavor. I should wake up in the morning and have one in my yard, Dan.
But getting to the ID part, it seems like people want to have different rules for HF than they do for VHF as far as FCC, because it's perfectly legal for me to hop on a 2-meter repeater and go, hey, James, you on here? And then we start a conversation. As long as I ID within 10 minutes, it's fine.
Listen, no, it's not even HF and UHF. It's HF or POTA people.
That's true too.
No, because I can't tell you the times I've been sitting there and somebody, I'll be on a frequency and I hear somebody say, hey, Jimmy, you over here? It's strictly people who don't do POTA are totally against POTA, and it's all it is they're going to fuss about it. And then you got people who do POTA but don't do POTA, and they're the ones on the Facebook fussing about stuff. They'll learn about POTA, But then you look them up, and they've activated 10 parks in the last 3 years. You know, I mean, come on. And then you got every other day it's somebody on there and it's posting a picture. Well, if I'm at the center of this park right here, am I in 3? There's 3 in the green here. Guys, that's why I would do anything for POTA just to do away with FERS. Because you got so many people. That's all they say. Well, if I look at the United States map, there's 40,000 parks there. I think I'm on the 40,000 for.
Yeah.
This ain't Canada, guys. We don't have 40,000 FERS.
Hey, see you, Brent. Thanks for dropping by. He says he has to go. Now, he said cut his hair, but I'm going to modify his response. He said, hopping off, got to go wash my hair before late.
Priorities. Yeah, I agree. The two FERS, 3 FERS, and 4 FERS. You know, I'm a member of a bunch of different groups and communities, but it's the same in every community. Same, you know, any of the gun groups I'm in or any of the overlanding groups. You know, you got the people that just have, you know, hey James, you know, you're in a 2 FER. Can you drop a pin? Where's that at? How do I get there? I'm like, dude, you want me to put gas in your truck too and key your radio? It's very frustrating. So I've tried to stay off Facebook.
Do your research. It's not hard, guys. It's just like I did a short when I was doing that rove with Sherry, and we got to a park, and you know I could have done that. Well, actually, I did do that too in a different place too on a different band, and that was my intention because I wanted to do it on a different band at that. So I was working 2 FER at 2 different spots, but I got to that one park, and you had to walk in. And I guarantee you, I looked at the list of people that activated that as a 2 FER, and I guarantee you, people do it from the parking lot, which is not possible.
Josh asked a good question here. We'll get to it in just a second. I got a question. You say most of the people around there, a majority of them, I would say, are not ham operators, and you use more GMRS than anything. But I'm just starting to dive into the realm of mesh stuff, using the Meshtastic. Does the overland community use any of that for communication?
No.
Back and forth?
No. And you know, right now the Meshtastic world is so fragmented. You know, there was a ton of talk. I talked to a ton of people at Hamcation about it, and I think it's so early and it's evolving so fast. It really doesn't have the infrastructure yet.
Yeah.
Whereas, you know, it's going to take, I mean, I hate to say it because right now it's grassroots, you know, you're getting in on the grassroots and building something cool, but it's going to take some company embracing it, similar to what Midland has done with GMRS. So Midland really has, you know, been so supportive of overlanding and, you know, the off-roading and camping to some extent. You know, they throw a ton of money. You know, I have a veterans group out of Fort Bragg, overlanding veterans group, and they give me a couple of radio, you know, $400 or $500 radios a year to, you know, to donate or auction, whatever I want to do. So that's perpetuated the GMRS. And even I want to say even GMRS is kind of a grassroots, because in certain parts of the country, I see it more active than ham. Like down, if you on the Florida Adventure Trail, when my wife and I went to Key West for Christmas, you know, when we hit the Fort Lauderdale, Miami down to Key West, no one with 2 meter 440 was ghost towns, but the GMRS was super huge, like tons of traffic. And they had linked all the GMRSs all the way from Lauderdale all the way down to Key West, which I thought was totally cool. So for, you know, 2 watts, I could talk all the way up and down.
Nice.
But it is a little bit more CB-ish.
Yeah.
But Josh, you know, 2 meters is a CB-ish too. I mean, so, I mean, yeah, my dad, you know, I'm a code, you know, I'm a novice. I had to learn code. So my dad was around in one of those jackasses that bitched about the no code tech. And when that whole revolution took place, he was, I mean, back in those days, it was right when the internet started too. So you had the internet pulling kids, or, you know, people that wanted to get into amateur radio, and then you just losing interest in the hobby. So in the end, I think he understood why, there was a no code. And now that obviously there's it's code, everything's codeless. But I think now looking back, he would embrace it. And I see a lot of guys. As a matter of fact, there was a couple of guys this weekend that I haven't talked to in literally 35 years, and they were my dad's buddies. And they were all in the club together. And I used to go like when I was 15 and 16 and hang out. I talked to them this weekend. One of them I actually called Sunday night when I got back home from camping, and both guys had just recently got into POTA hunting. I mean, they're old. I mean, they're like 85, 90, but they're starting to get into POTA. And one of them said, it's a wonderful thing what POTA is doing. It's seriously invigorating life. And the people that don't embrace it, I just don't get it. I don't understand.
I think it's good for the hobby as well. And I'm one of those no code techs too. And I purposely waited for that in order to test for my license, because I did not want to have anything to do with Morse code. And look at me now, I love Morse code.
See, I'm the opposite. I was a novice coder, and then I got up to like 30 words a minute. My father and he used to do mobile code. He'd strap it to his thigh and drive, and I'm like, but I got up to like 25, 30 words a minute, and I loved it. My problem is I hate electronics. That's why I'm not an extra.
People who send Morse code while they're driving down the road are complete crazy people.
Yeah, it's like, okay. I mean, who does that, James?
I would never do that.
I have a video of Dan hunting me at about 75 miles an hour on CW.
Yeah, I'm the best knee driver on the planet. Okay, I'm the best knee driver on the planet.
Luckily within James and Dan, I mean, within this group, there's a couple of guys that are like me, down around 10 words a minute, and we're starting to get together and have like code meetups and trying to brush up on our code. So nice. Once I can hit 15 words, I'm gonna do some activations with code.
Well,
but I don't care what you. I don't care what you. Wait. I don't care what you say. There's no way that you guys slow down, because I've tried. I send out my call sign at like 10, 12 words a minute now. You guys
will
slow down for you.
I won't claim that I will slow down for you, because I will go ahead and tell you, if you're sending at 10 or 12 words a minute, I can't understand you. I really can't. I'm not Bill Brown. Bill Brown can understand you, but I can't understand you. If you're below 15, you're really pushing my limits, because I'm hearing dits and daws. And I'm used to hearing letters and call signs.
The best thing that helped me, Max, was not starting slow. So I started learning the characters at a character speed of 25. But put some Farnsworth spacing between the characters. So space them out. Give your brain a chance to think.
Yeah,
because the faster you get, the more your brain hears that complete sound as a character, not just dit da as an A. It doesn't hear a dit in a da, it hears da, and it knows that's an A. So it might help you out to learn at a faster character speed, just give you more space between the characters. You know what I mean?
It's kind of like practice.
Yeah. It's kind of like your job is to go to auctions, and you spend all day long hearing an auctioneer talk to you, and you understand every word that auctioneer says.
Right.
Then when you go to get something to eat at McDonald's, the lady behind the counter says, "Hello, my name." That's for me. That's what it's like, and it's not that I try to exclude people that's trying to learn. It's just I don't understand it. I'm not good enough to understand it. Yeah,
Well, the problem is with code and with the guys in this group that I've been kind of practicing with, we can all send 15 or above. But then the problem is it comes right back at you at 15 and we're copying at 10. And I've tried everything. I mean, I've tried
I'll tell you what.
I've tried my Yaesu, and I've tried everything. It sucks.
If you hunt me, you send to me at 15. And if I decode you as November 4/3, I'll Farnsworth space the crap out of you. I'll slow I won't slow my speed down, but my N, you'll have N 4 T R D. You know what I'm saying?
He might throw the U in there just to throw you off. I mean, it might be TURD, but you know.
Turd.
No, I get it. I think it's just practice. It's just
Yeah,
practice,
that's all
like
it
anything
is.
else.
I find it. I find that if I don't do any kind of Morse code for a couple of days, even just hunting, I'm totally out of it. It takes me at least like 2 or 3 days to catch back up in my brain.
You want me to tell you why? Because you've earned CW as an adult.
Yeah.
If you would have learned it when you were younger, you could go years, and it'd be just like riding a bike.
If I wouldn't have waited for that damn no code check.
Yep. But I want to touch on a couple of things there. So I love when the vids talk about, you know, these POTA people are a bunch of no code tech, blah 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 blah. And I told one guy, I said, buddy, I said, I do more CW QSOs in a month than you do all year. So don't talk to me about CW. Yeah, you know, I'm fine with my CW, but I don't understand that. And then with Josh asked Max about his dad. I'm gonna tell you a funny thing. My dad was an old school ham. He did CW. He did all this stuff. What would he think about POTA? I wouldn't be the leader at 1810 if he was alive.
Oh, he would smoke you.
He would be there every single day because he don't travel as much. He wouldn't travel as much as I would, but he'd be at 1810 every day. I wouldn't be the leader there. That's what he'd think about POTA. He'd love it.
You would tell him you're going to change your tires in the car, and he'd be like, well, that's my chance to get more than you.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Hide your gear. Hide your radio. But yeah, it's good. And anyways, so I use an NFED, and I'm taking encouragement from Brian, and I'm going to try to use 2 radios. That's my goal. You know, I want to use 2 radios when I'm camping. I bought filters.
You know, you guys are going to keep doing this, and you're going to make me start doing this, and then it's going to have the world tore up because I'm going to be doing 2 radios all the time.
I don't think there's anybody going to catch you.
Oh no, and it's not. I ain't worried about somebody catching me. It's just you guys are having double the fun that I'm having.
Yeah, FT8 is watch you.
No, I won't be doing FT8 on neither one of those radios. I can promise you that.
I want to see you do a sideband and CW activation.
That's what I was saying. I'd love to see that. That's a video.
You know,
you'd be like Rain Man.
It would be like a 1 o'clock during the day activation.
Yeah, on 40 meters.
I think I could pull it off. I think I could pull it off.
1 o'clock during the day on 80 meters.
My problem would be logging it. That would be my problem. I would have to
have 2 separate loggers.
I'd have to record the whole thing or something, and just go back and relog everything.
Yeah.
Because, well, no, because even running, I'd have to go foot switch instead of push button. I could run my house, do a foot switch, log with one hand, log with the left hand, and do CW with the right hand.
You need a third hand.
That's next level. No thanks. I want to have fun. That sounds like work.
Right.
Man, you know, every time I watch one of these, when Dan says we're at the top of the hour, this did go fast. I was kind of nervous.
It does. It goes fast. A lot of people's nervous, and being a guest on this show is like the most laid back show ever. It's you know, it's not like your K8 truck, and I'm going to ask you how you make more QSOs than physically possible to make during the time limit you have.
That's right.
Yeah, no comment.
Yeah.
At one point, I wasn't allowed to interview list if I wanted to stay in good with POTA.
You weren't what?
I wasn't allowed to interview certain people if I wanted to stay on the good side of POTA.
Because some questions just need to be asked to certain people, and we would be the people who do ask those questions, I think.
Yeah, but those people wouldn't put themselves out there to be asked those questions.
Oh yeah, I know they wouldn't. They wouldn't. But I'm just a person to be a roving reporter and walk up to your little white pedophile van and knock on your window when you're activating and say, "Can you tell me why you're spotted in a fiver and you're sitting in the parking lot that's only a threefer?"
Are you the guys that were looking for the shampoo?
That guy's off the POTA list. That was an illegal question asking me about the shampoo. Oh crap! Well, all right. Well, it's 2 minutes to the top of the hour, and I know my Patreons are dying to go to After Chat and listen to me work on tomorrow's video while I'm in there. But Max, what you got coming up this week?
We believe it or not, one of the problems with having a camper is we're stuck in the campground. So we have purchased electric bikes. So we're trying to figure out where we're going this weekend. We're talking about going down to the coast, taking the bikes down. And that's what I got going. Hopefully at another campground.
Hey, thank you very much, Josh, for the super chat. I appreciate it very much. Sherry says, nice to see you, Turd. Dan, what you got coming up?
Let's see. Work the rest of the week. And Turd, Max, thank you very much for coming along on the ride today. And I dropped a link to his YouTube channel, North Carolina Old Man Overload. Go give him a like and a subscribe. Check out his videos for some more content. And I also dropped the links to Ham Radio Adventure Guys Patreon and the Discord, where we will be heading over to the After Chat, which James is going to tell you about now.
That's right. And one more thing, Turd, are you coming to Huntsville or Dayton?
No, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna do Murphy though.
You're going to do Murphy, okay? Will you have the Toyota? Will you have the Toyota at Murphy?
Yeah, I'm not gonna go. I'm not gonna do Dayton because that was a thing I did with my dad.
Okay.
I probably will never go again.
You have the Toyota at Murphy?
Yep.
Okay. Good deal.
Yeah. Well, if anybody is looking for some camping, I'm gonna be camping.
Awesome.
Somewhere.
Stuff. All right. For myself, I'm getting ready to go hang out probably with these two guys here and a whole lot more over in the After Chat. After Chat is a Patreon benefit, but lucky you can go over to Patreon and sign up for a free 7-day trial. And the only catch is you might want to message me or Dan so we can put you in the room in Discord, because I don't get notifications for those free trials for some reason. But other than that, I'll be activating daily. Tomorrow, probably in the snow, from what Terry says and from what I've seen on the news this morning. Then a video drop tomorrow at 4, and I'll probably be doing that video drop from the road because I'll be heading out to Cincinnati, be doing a little bit of activating there. Thursday evening, maybe. I'm not sure about Thursday evening, but definitely Friday. And then POTA every day, videos, most of them. Thanks a lot, guys, and appreciate all the donations, and we'll catch everybody in After Chat. 73, everybody.
73.